Hello, besties. We are having a bookish day. We just actually I don't want to say ran some errands. We went shopping because I wanted to get a couple more tops at Abercrombie. So that's what we did. We stopped at a coffee shop. We had some lunch. I should be arrested for being a booktuber for not bringing a book or my Kindle to a very vibey coffee shop. So that's on me. You can call the police. I will be waiting for my arrest. I completely understand. Now we're at Barnes & Noble, and we're gonna go book shopping with bestie Chanel. Let's go get some books. I like that he's purple. I'm hoping that you can't hear my AC because we are in the car and it is 111 degrees out today in Arizona, so we love that. That Barnes was incredible. They had a wonderful romance section. The fantasy section was very interesting. It was mostly like sci-fi and like classic fantasy, and then when you went into the front sections, which were much more like new releases and like general fiction, that's where they had a lot of the popular like fantasy new releases and things like that. I do have a little haul for you, but I'm gonna do that when we get home later. Right now we're at this antique mall. I've heard good things about it. I'm hoping it will be a little treasure trove. Ross is meeting me here. Basically, this isn't super bookish since it's, I think, mostly furniture. If you're wondering why we're going to like this random like thrifting kind of place, that is why. We got a big bag of books that we're going to haul. I actually picked up a couple others. I had a little list that I brought with me, but I ended up picking up 2 curveballs. So these are the books that we got. There we are. We got 4 books. So I have been obsessed with this YA series. It's called Guardians of Dawn. It's by S.J. Jones. I feel like it's not super popular, but I really love it. There's 3 books out so far. It's a quartet. So the 4th book comes out next year. I actually read an arc of this one and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. This has been like a 5-star, 4-star series for me. It's very Sailor Moon reminiscent of these guardians of light, guardians of order, being reincarnated to fight against chaos and evil, which is returning in the form of demons. And each book follows a different guardian as they come into their power. I've already read it, but I needed it for my shelves for the collection. And then the other one that was on my list of books to get is Slewfoot by Brahm. I have seen this book everywhere for so long. It's a horror book that I've been meaning to get to quite literally for years, and I've had it on my want to read list. I've heard incredible things about it. It's going to be perfect going into September and October, the Burr months. It's for spooky season. And sometimes when I have books that have been on my want to read list just absolutely forever, I'm just not making an effort to read it in some way, shape, or form. If I put it on my physical TBR and buy a copy of it, immediately the pressure in my head like goes up 10,000 points. All I know is that it's about an ancient spirit that awakens in a dark wood. The wild folk call him Father Slayer Protector. The colonists call him Slewfoot Demon Devil. But we follow a witch named Abatha, a recently widowed outcast, alone, vulnerable in her pious village. He is the only one that she can turn to for help. There's also illustrations in here, which is so cool. Like, what do you mean? That's so... Like, look how cool that is. What are you talking about? These next two were the curveballs. So I love Rachel Harrison. I have read from her before. I've read 2 books from her before. And this is her vampire tale, So Thirsty, by Rachel Harrison. It was also a cover buy for me as well, because this cover is just perfect. And we love it here. I did not super duper read what this is about, but I've been interested in this book since it came out. And so I was like, another reason to pick up a horror book. I find that sometimes it's harder for me to want to buy like horrors or thriller mystery because personally, I'm never going to reread a thriller once I know what happens, or a mystery. I'm like, okay, we've been there, done that. Horror for me, I will reread. I actually have like a tiny little shelf of horrors. I feel like Rachel Harrison could be a reread author for me. We'll see how I feel about this one. If you don't know this about me already, my shelves are like my trophies. I only keep books on my shelves that are 4 stars or above. It's very rare that you will find a book that was a 3-star or lower on my shelves. So that's why I'm just trying to be like a conscious book purchaser, where I want to make sure that I really like the book before I officially put it on my shelves, because that means something. That's like a reward. And then this one was a total random buy, but I saw the cover of it, and Chanel actually got a copy of this as well, I think. Yes. Cash by Jessica Peterson. I haven't heard anything about this, but the cover is so pretty, and it's a cowboy romance, which I love cowboy romance. This is my whole little cowboy romance section over here. This, we follow Molly, who's a city girl, and her estranged father unexpectedly dies and leaves his massive cattle ranch to her. To collect her inheritance, she has to move to the Texas ranch and manage it for a full year. And she hasn't lived on this ranch since she left as a child when her parents split. That sounded so good to me. And then needing money to reinvest in her company, she decides to go out there. She wants to get her inheritance, but there's one giant roadblock in her plan. The ranch's grumpy foreman, Cash Rivers. Never mind how good he looks in his Wranglers and chaps, he's rude, growly, and wants Molly gone. So that just sounded so good. And I love that Lila Sage started this trend for covers that look like this. I'm obsessed. I think I'm going to have a problem if all covers start looking like this. I just want to buy them all. I freaking love them so much. And also, I know that this takes place in Texas, but it's giving so Arizona. I literally thought at first that this was an Arizona book because there's so many cactuses. Those are the books that we got. Very different vibes from each other, actually. 2 horrors, a YA, and a cowboy romance. Thinking that we're going to read one of these in this vlog. I think it's either going to be Cash or So Thirsty. I haven't decided yet, so I will catch up with y'all once we decide what we're reading. In addition to our bookshop and our book haul, I have a new bookshelf that we need to set up together. So I'm going to do that tomorrow on my day off. And I have some bookish mail that I thought would be really exciting to open with you. I have a new Kindle case, and then I have some really cute like stickers from an artist. I'm a part of her Patreon where she sends out a little postcard and stickers every month, and I absolutely look forward to it every single month. Like, they're so cute. It's like a little present. Not overly bookish, but I do use them in my reading journal. Oh my gosh, and they're so cute. This is the little postcard. Absolutely stinking adorable. And then these are the stickers. Okay, so those are those. I don't know when I'm going to use them, but I have a couple spreads that I need to work on, so they will definitely get used soon. And then I've always had clear cases with a pop socket, and I really, really enjoy the clear case with a pop socket. But we're trying a little fold over case, and we're going to see how it goes. Let's take her out. This is what she looks like. This is the back. It makes it look like a little book. It's so freaking cool. It says, bibliophile, once you're in the story, you can't get out. Hot ghouls read. And then the back has literally a little synopsis that says, hot ghouls read. Cassie, Jesse, and Marla just wanted a quiet place to read their favorite horror novels, but after opening a strange unmarked book from the bottom shelf of a town library, things got weird. Now every page they turn traps them deeper into a haunted storyline they can't escape. Their friends are vanishing. The characters they read about are showing up on their doorstep. And worst of all, if they don't finish the book by midnight, they'll be stuck in it forever. Be sure to finish this book before it finishes you. Like, I want that to actually be a book. What are you talking about? So cute. So I'm going to put this on. Hello friends, it's time to get into the reading vlog portion of this video. We're going to read one of the books that we bought recently, which I thought would be really fun. So I'm debating between So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison or Slewfoot by Brom. I've wanted to read both of these for such a long time. They are both horror books, but they're very different vibes from each other. And I am reading for a readathon at the moment. I'm reading for the Readathon Rebellion. The reading prompt that I got, because it's a board game readathon, so I just did a roll, I moved my spaces, I landed on an info gathering space. I will leave, if you're curious about the Readathon Rebellion, I will leave the announcement video linked down below. Our prompt is to read a book ending in an even page number, and so I thought that that would be my deciding factor between the two of these books. So Thirsty ends on page, I don't know whether to count the absolute end of the book, like the acknowledgements section. So Thirsty ends on page 290, including the acknowledgements. But if we don't include the acknowledgements, it ends on 287. And then Slewfoot, if we include the absolute last page, it ends on page 326. But if we go back to the actual final page of the book itself, it ends on page 305. So then neither of these would fit that prompt, and that's upsetting. So I think I am going to count the actual final page of the book, but that means that both of these would count as ending in an even number, which doesn't help. I might turn to Instagram and have Instagram decide for me because I can't make a decision to save my whole dang life. Hi friends, it's the next morning. We've read a little bit more of Slewfoot today. I think last night I got about 70 pages in and I wanted to get to page 100 before I gave an update. I don't know what I was expecting with this book, but in terms of writing style, this was not what I was expecting and it's so wonderful to read, which might be a weird thing to say for a horror book. It's told in third person, but it's almost split between two different POVs. We follow Abatha, who is our main character. She's a human woman. She's living in a Puritan society. It's always so crazy to hear about Puritan societies like colonial New England. They're in Connecticut. They just loved to live a miserable life. They thought that living a miserable life was living with God and that life was suffering and that to suffer was to be closer to God. It's so wild the way that they treat each other. It's almost inhumane. Like they talk about people being sent to the stocks and being lashed and things like that. And even when they're in the stocks and they have to stay like 4 days and 4 nights in the stocks and people give them like a blanket and then they'll walk by and throw dirt at them and throw rocks at them and take their blankets away. And it's just so cruel. It just blows my freaking mind. I think that being mean to each other is how to keep the devil out. It's baffling. It's interesting to read about, especially in a horror book context, because even just the treatment of how humans are interacting with each other is horrific to begin with. But we basically get two POVs. We get Abatha, who was not born to the colonies. She wasn't raised a Puritan. She describes her mother as being cunning. That's like witchcraft, sort of, like charms and things like that. But there was definitely a darker side to what her mother was doing. She grew up in London, and then her father promised her to a man in the colonies. He basically sold her marriage to the New World. Also just absolute madness. And so she was 18 or 19 when she moved to the colonies, met her husband for the first time, got married, and she had to adjust to living this Puritan lifestyle. But she has some like paganism in her. However, she doesn't worship the devil. Like, I don't know if that's what paganism really means, but I know that paganism is often associated with like witchcraft. But she's scared. She's definitely scared of the demons and devils that are in this. We get scenes with an entity, we'll call it, right from the very beginning. I think that the way it's told, it keeps you so gripped. And even though these chapters are really long, they're broken up throughout. Usually I'm a complainer about long chapters. This book, it's really not a problem because you're just so engaged with narrative, like with the story. In one of the first scenes, Abatha loses her and her husband's goat. She accidentally left the gate open. The goat wandered into this very weird cave-like tree thing. You see in Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton, picture the tree, like the evil tree that the Headless Horseman comes out of. That's how I'm picturing this. It's a really creepy tree. And so she goes in there, there's like this cave-like thing on the inside, and there's this pit. And the goat fell down there. That's kind of what started it all. There's multiple aggressors in this. There's multiple antagonists in this. We have this devil-like being that is our alternative perspective. He goes by many names. It's interesting because the humans call him devil, they call him demon, they call him Slewfoot, but when you get the perspective of like these creepy woodland creatures, they call him Father and Slayer. And what this being, this entity is to the woodland creatures is like, you've been asleep for too long, and we need you as the Slayer, as the father, to kill off the humans that have settled in this land. They're encroaching on nature, basically. It's interesting because this entity doesn't seem like they're just out for evil's sake. It seems like he's trying to protect this wild land that the colonizers have come in and started to develop. I would say the tone and the mood of this book isn't overly dark. However, there are moments, especially with the interactions. There's so many women, there's so many haters. Agatha has so many freaking haters in this community, but there's certain people who are looking out for her. Like, you get those certain moments where someone will pull her aside and say, like, it's really admirable what you're doing, and not everyone's against you, even though that's what it seems like. And so she has these moments of connection that you're like, oh, thank goodness. But then people start to be really mean to her again and very accusatory. And there's this one antagonist who is her husband's brother, who is just the worst person. Like, in the end, I want something bad to happen to him. I want Slewfoot to take care of this man for Abatha. I'm so ready for justice, and I'm on page 100, and we have 200 more pages to go. So this is going to be my focus for the rest of the day. I'm having a wonderful time with this. It's very creepy. There's definitely certain scenes where you're like, ooh, this was just thrown in to give you like the creepy deeps. And I think it's been creepy from the very beginning, but I'm assuming it's going to get like really dark and scary. We made it to chapter 10 of Slewfoot last night, or I guess yesterday. I am planning on finishing this today. We only have a little over 100 pages left. Can I just say that every single time Wallace enters the chat, all I sing in my head is, that boy is corrupt. What's so fascinating about this writing style is that in the beginning, we are so suspicious and distrustful and upset, sort of, with Slewfoot and some of the like forest spirits that we encounter right at the very beginning because of the certain things that happen, like the goat, because of what happens with Edward. But then we very quickly switch gears to our main antagonist and our enemy in this book being a human man. And I think that is such an interesting way to like craft the story, because you would naturally assume that the supposedly evil spirit, like the one that's just out for blood and everyone's telling him that he needs blood, you would think that that is the one we're going to be rooting against. But no, because he teams up with our main character and they're such a good team and there's so much mystery around them, like you're wondering why they're working so well together and what's going on. This man Wallace, I hope that his pillow is never cold. I hope that every time he walks, he trips over a big rock and stubs his toe. I hope that this man, I'm trying to think of like a colonial New England thing that could happen to him. I hope that his horse runs away and never comes back. Amen. Friends, we have finished her and I'm giving her 5 stars. This was so fun. I loved the balance between, like, it's a horror. It definitely is. There's very creepy scenes. If you don't like bugs, I would not recommend reading this book because there is a lot of bug things that happen. But if you enjoy books about feminine rage, like if you read Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, if you read Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, if you read Diavola, I think that you would really enjoy Slewfoot. I feel like a theme through some of the books that I've read this year, and they have all been my favorites, are books about feminine rage. And I'm not like a huge horror person. I tend to switch to horror during certain times of the year. Definitely in the autumn, it just feels like it calls to me and I want some creepier vibes. I do tend to sprinkle horror throughout my entire year, I would say, and I really enjoy the characterization that horror brings. It's not necessarily that I'm after a lot of gore per se. That's definitely not my vibe. This book doesn't have that. Like, this is about the character progression. The character arcs in this are so incredible. And just the storytelling, like the person that you thought, or the character that you thought was going to be the evil one, aka Slewfoot, like the devilish character, was not actually the one that you ended up hating the most. And I always think it's so interesting when the author is able to bring us to a different side, to like root for a different character than who you thought you were going to root for. It was great. I would definitely read more from Brahm. I thought that the illustrations in this brought it to life, but the audiobook was so good. I would actually recommend an immersive read if you're going to pick this up, if you're able to, and if you like immersive reading, because that experience was just a 10 out of 10 experience. So 5-star. We got a lot done in this vlog. Thank you for spending a bookish couple of days with me. Thank you for watching this ultimate book video. It's kind of a little bit of both. It started off as a bookish day, and then we just expanded upon that because we were having the most wonderful time. If you've made it this far, leave a little witch emoji in the comments down below. If you'd like to let me know that you were here, I will catch you in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one very soon. Doodles!